Apart from the human resources, the maritime industry's most essential asset is its ports, and in Nigeria's growing maritime ecosystem, few names shine as brightly as the Lekki deep sea ports. Strategically located in the Lagos Free Trade Zone, this world-class facility represents a new chapter in port infrastructure, competitiveness, and logistics efficiency in Nigeria and West Africa. On today's edition of The Shipper, we spotlight the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Shippers Council, Dr. Pius Akutah's visit to this flagship terminal. We'll also bring you highlights from the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, where the Honorable Minister continues to lead global engagements in ocean sustainability and marine policy. And of course, our Titbit segment is also on deck, with Maria Uekule bringing you updates from the global maritime space. Let's go on a short break. We'll be right back.
For more than 5 decades, we have empowered and protected the interests of shippers in the nation's maritime industry. Our focus is to facilitate trade, regulate tariffs and rates, as well as handle shippers' complaints on cargo losses, damage and non-delivery. We offer dispute resolution mechanism for shipping and trade disputes between shippers and service providers. We are Nigerian Shippers Council, Nigeria's port economic regulator, your gateway to a thriving maritime sector. Nigerian Shippers Council will meet you at the port of your need.
Welcome back. You're watching The Shipper, your undeniable go-to hub for the latest in the nation's maritime industry, proudly brought to you by Nigerian Shippers Council, the nation's port economic regulator. I am Abike Ido. As part of efforts to deepen trade facilitation, attract investment, and modernize port operations, the Executive Secretary of Nigerian Shippers Council paid a working visit to the Lekki deep sea port. The visit served not just as an appraisal of progress, but as a platform for stakeholder engagements on issues like automation, tariff structures, and port performance. Let's now join Lucy Yambi as she presents this report compiled by the Shippers correspondent.
Built with an initial investment of $1.5 billion, located in the Lagos Free Trade Zone, Ibeju-Lekki, about 65 kilometers away from Lagos city center, spanning an area of about 90 hectares, with a design capacity to handle up to 2.5 million TEUs in the near future. The Lekki Deep Seaport stands as a symbol of Nigeria's ambition to become a logistics hub in the Gulf of Guinea. Constructed on a build-own-operate-transfer model, the port is a tripartite investment between the federal government, Lagos State government via the Tolaram Group, and China Harbour Engineering Company. At the core of this project lies a drive to reduce congestion, cut logistics costs, and support Nigeria's non-oil export goals. In line with this, the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Shippers Council, Dr. Akutah Pius, visited the facility to deepen collaboration and emphasize regulatory priorities such as efficiency and innovation. While highlighting the government's commitment to automation and smarter logistics, Dr. Akutah noted that the Honorable Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, His Excellency Adegboyega Oyetola, is equally committed to positioning the port for regional competitiveness. He further praised the operators of the Lekki Deep Seaport for their tenacity from inception, completion, and operation.
This deep seaport is one of its kind in Africa. In West Africa, I don't think there's anything like this. This is the highest infrastructure that has been put down in the port sector in West Africa. Movement of cargo in and out of Nigeria and indeed West Africa and Africa in general is hampered because of lack of logistics, connectivity problems, and all of that. Majorly, what we have seen in the years past is that cargo leaving any of the West African country to another country within the West Africa here might end up in Europe before it will come back to West Africa. And that is hampering trade a lot. Sometimes those cargo, when they arrive, the content is already, degraded, sometimes to a point that it has to be rejected. So to have this kind of facility here resonates very strongly with the agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to diversify the economy of Nigeria to this sector. So we have this infrastructure thanks to the partnership, the public-private partnership initiative. We have noted that this is one of the most successful PPP projects in the country so far. We are hoping that many of this kind of public-private partnership will also come on board, especially at the moment where the president is committed to growing the economy from this sector.
The managing director, Lekki Deep Seaport, Mr. Wang Yang, gave a thorough insight into the facility from design, operations, to future importance of the port in West Africa and its macroeconomic impact.
Lekki Port will have an estimated aggregate impact of 361 billion US dollar over 45 years. So this project also offers a multiple effect of more than 230 times of the total cost of the 1.53 billion US dollars, which is the construction fixed asset investment. And so we also have the direct economic impact. So the numbers, we also mentioned that in that video. So we're also going to provide about 170,000 jobs through direct and indirect through these 45 years. And for the land area is 90 acres. So for the unique selling point, so this is the deep sea port, so in the West Africa, and it's multi-purpose port. And this is the first deep sea port in Nigeria. So this is the shareholder structure. As I mentioned earlier, so this is the PPP project. So the first P is public. So then we have the two public shareholders. The first is Lagos state government. The second is Nigerian Ports Authority. And then the second P is the private sectors. So we have two. The first one is China Harbour Engineering Company. And the second is Tolerant. So these four major shareholders is the shareholders for the Lekki Port. And talking about the terminal operators, so as I mentioned earlier, so we have three types of berths. For the containers, so the operator is Lekki Freight Terminal, so which is managed by CMA CGM. The second type is dry bulk terminal. So right now, this is operated by Tolerant. The third part is the liquid berth. So right now, this is in view.
Director, Consumer Affairs Department, Nigerian Shippers Council, Mr. Celestine Akujobi, said the purpose of the visit was to see firsthand the facility and its operations. He also said that they have noted the challenges put forth by staff and assured them of quick responses, even as he stated that Dr. Akutah had already responded to some questions and suggestions.
And all we want to do is to make sure that this massive investment here, is definitely let it be that at the end of, at a specific period of time, the amount of money, spent here will be recouped. We want a situation where this port will be sustainable, to be able to sustain itself and equally provide quite a huge number of jobs to our people. And that's the essence of us here, to make sure that things are working the way they should be and to ensure that they will not operate at a loss. What I will say is that yes, we will continue to come here from time to time to monitor operations, to make sure that the efficiency there is told us about is actually achieved. The operations are the way it should be, and that the costs are not too high because, we are competing with other sub-regional ports. They are competing with ports like the one in Tema, the one in Abidjan, and Lomé, and equally Cotonou here. So that means that we need to make sure that we continue to monitor what they are doing, the operations.
On her part, Ms. Adonra, Deputy Director, Trade Services Division, had commendations for the facility and encouraged the management and staff to work towards becoming a recognized logistics hub in Africa.
You're actually focusing on where your strength should be, which is being a regional hub. It's very important because oftentimes we try to compete with even ports outside this region. Exactly, and they're not our competitors. We need to keep our eyes on what our competitors are doing. So I see that's a good one. And talked about marketing the port. Important. But, oftentimes we have visitors, people who call on the Shippers Council. We entertain visitors from outside the country who oftentimes would want to visit. In fact, we actually encourage them to visit because this is our pride. So, yeah, exactly. So we want them to see. But sometimes these requests come short notice. Mr. Dibe has had to help some of those short notice calls. We appreciate that, but we just want to say that when those calls come, it could be short notice. Oblige us so that our visitors can, tour your facility as much as possible, because that's one way we can also support you to market your facility, because they see and then they go back and they talk about it.
A freight forwarder, Mr. Chubike Chukwu, harped on the fact that the Lekki port facility epitomizes the ease of doing business phrase.
Many workers from other terminals, other ports left their base, went to Lekki because they see things, the system is working. Then when the payment advantage is okay. I'm telling you what's happening on the ground. They left their spaces and went to Lekki port because they see the system put in place is in order. It's a wonderful one.
Mr. Muhammad Sani, Secretary General of the Association of Maritime Truck Owners, AMATO, was full of praise and commendation for the Lekki Deep Seaport. He outlined several points which makes it stand out from other ports.
Lekki Deep Seaport is a world-class seaport because it is fully automated. During the tour visit we were paid by Amato to the ports some years back, we saw all their equipment, all their infrastructure. They are world class. They are of international standards in terms of the loading equipment, in terms of the lightning, the apron, and other infrastructure. They are world class standards, which we believe will enhance port efficiency and port productivity as well.
Mr. Nuru Wagani, Director of Operations at the Barge Operators Association of Nigeria, BOAN, called for greater synergy to harness the port's waterway potential.
We, the barge operators, primarily our activities is both coastal and inland. So we have different type of barges. We have the sea-going barges and we have the creek-going barges, because the interland, because of its draft, because of its channels and other challenges that we are looking for flat bottom barges that they can be able to evacuate volume of cargo from the deep seaport to the interland. And by so doing, it's going to enhance our productivity, it will enhance our capacity, it will enhance our potential.
In an interview with the shipper, the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Shippers Council, Dr. Akutah Pius, noted that the infrastructure in the port has created room for immense job opportunities and also encouraged the port's management to intensify its marketing efforts.
It's an infrastructure that will support the plans that the Nigerian Shippers Council has to ensure that Nigeria becomes a maritime logistic hub for not just West Africa, but for the African region, to service our commitment in the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
The Lekki Deep Seaport was developed as a world-class facility from inception. It has tremendous opportunities to become a major maritime hub, which will stamp Africa's footprint permanently on the global maritime map.
This facility has set itself up as an iconic facility for others to emulate. Trust us here at The Shipper to ensure you are fully abreast of its progress and the impact it is making, while other ports in the country follows its leads to create excellence in the West African sub-region maritime sector. As efforts like this continue to set new standards, the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy is also charting a bold course for national transformation. Now, we turn our spotlights to the ministry, where the Honorable Minister Adegboyega Oyetola is driving forward-thinking policies to secure Nigeria's marine future. At the United Nations Ocean Conference in Nice, France, Nigeria joined over 120 countries to advocate for urgent global action in protecting the ocean and unlocking the potential of the blue economy. Delivering Nigeria's statement on behalf of the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, His Excellency Adegboyega Oyetola, CON, emphasized the importance of promptly ratifying the biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction agreements.
As a coastal state, Nigeria acknowledges the importance of the ocean as a repository of tremendous wealth, natural capital, infrastructure network, global food security, employment opportunities, and sustainable livelihood.
He stressed that protecting marine ecosystems is key to global sustainability, highlighting Nigeria's commitment to designating at least 30% of its marine space as protected areas by 2030. The minister also unveiled domestic initiatives such as Nigeria's first national marine and blue economy policy and a new roadmap for ocean governance designed to boost environmental protection while opening economic opportunities.
Nigeria has demonstrated good faith by prioritizing sustainable ocean governance and attainment of SDG 14 target through a number of initiatives, which include 1. Adoption of the blue economy national policy aimed at incentivizing diversification into sustainable ocean-based economies.
He concluded by calling for increased international support, particularly in blue finance and technology transfer, to help developing nations like Nigeria achieve long-term ocean sustainability. Next up, we have Tidbit segment with Maria Uwekule on standby. Over to you, Maria.
Hello and welcome to the Tidbit segment on The Shipper. I am Maria Uwekule, here to bring you the latest trends, quick updates and outstanding stories from the maritime world. Let's sail right into it. Nigerian Shippers Council, led by its Executive Secretary CEO, Dr. Akutah Pius'S MON, paid a collaborative visit to the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, in Abuja recently. The visit aimed to strengthen ongoing efforts to combat corruption within the port sector. Dr. Akutah emphasized the need for intensified enforcement and capacity building. ICPC Chairman Dr. Adamu Musa Aliyu, SAN, echoed the importance of interagency collaboration and supported initiatives such as data sharing, legal reform, and whistleblower protection. Both agencies committed to leveraging technology and joint training to uphold accountability in the maritime sector. In another news, today we are excited to share highlights from the second day of Nigerian Shippers Council's Public Relations Retreat. The theme, Team Building, Strategic Planning, Sharing Ideas to Stay Ahead of Competition, focused on technical aspects of the program. Mr. Chidi Nnadi's presentation on the evolution of communication in the digital era provided valuable insights for participants.
GSM came with it, the social media. The social media. That is when we now migrated from the conventional media we could go to the television, radio, newspaper, magazine, before go to interact to save our problems. We entered into the era of GSM, including the internet. Then the social media blossomed to the point that smartphones became available to everyone.
Mr. Essien Ekpo emphasized the importance of PR extending beyond traditional media management to influencing conversations at all levels.
The first thing I want you to note is that you must see yourselves as communicators, first and foremost. Why am I making this point? The typical tendency when you look at the PR architecture of a number of government agencies and entities, it's a default mode, is that yes, in terms of the PR function, we're almost always on crisis mode. Have you noticed that? We're either praying that something does not go wrong, and when something goes wrong, a lot of the times it catches us flat-footed. So we're constantly playing catch-up. We are constantly in reactionary mode.
Participants described the experience as refreshing and empowering, expressing renewed commitment to telling the NSC story with confidence and clarity.
The training was very insightful, very engaging. I learned a lot in terms of the importance of actually shifting my mindset from doing things the regular way to actually thinking outside the box.
We've been encouraged to set a timely goal to drive the council's image and also to shape the public opinion by setting a strong agenda for the public.
I enjoyed today's lectures. It was very interactive. But personally, my take home is the dynamic shift, how we think from not the normal thinking we always think every day, thinking of something new, what we use to sustain the image of the council and that sustainability of the image.
We encourage you to follow our social media pages at NG Shippers on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube for more of our latest updates, events, and information. Let's take a look at our complaints register for the week. The Nigerian Shippers Council has received 4 complaints. While 3 of these complaints have been resolved, 1 is still ongoing. These includes issues with forgery and economic sabotage, double jetty fee charge, detained container, and damaged cargo. At the Nigerian Shippers Council, we remain steadfast in our role as the economic regulator and protector of shippers' interests. We are committed to ensuring fairness, transparency, and accountability in the maritime sector. Now, let's switch our focus to the international maritime news. Chinese automaker SAIC took delivery of a new pure truck and car carrier, PCTC, a vessel named Anji Soundness, built by China merchants Jinling Shipyard in Nanjing recently. The ship was handed over to SAIC's logistics subsidiary, Anji Logistics, and immediately began its maiden voyage, transporting cars and construction machinery. The Anji Soundness is designed with environmental sustainability in mind, featuring systems that make it compliant with IMO Tier 3 standards. It can be converted to run on methanol fuel and includes advanced emission reduction technologies. The vessel will stop at Chinese ports before sailing to Europe, visiting the Netherlands, UK, Belgium, and Germany on a 40-day journey covering 16,000 nautical miles via the Cape of Good Hope. That brings us to the end of the Tidbit segments on The Shipper. See you again next week with more insights from the maritime world.
For more than 5 decades, we have empowered and protected the interests of shippers in the nation's maritime industry. Our focus is to facilitate trade, regulate tariffs and rates, as well as handle shippers' complaints on cargo losses, damage and non-delivery. We offer dispute resolution mechanism for shipping and trade disputes between shippers and service providers. We are Nigerian Shippers Council, Nigeria's port economic regulator, your gateway to a thriving maritime sector. Nigerian Shippers Council will meet you at the port of your need.
And that is how we wrap up today's episode of The Shipper. Do make it a date to join us on our next journey and follow us on all our social media handles at NG Shippers for more inquiries, comments or suggestions. Do have a swimmingly great week ahead. Goodbye.